welcome back to another episode of Doodling with Purpose, learning hieroglyphics. One of the things you see on the internet all the time are people comparing hieroglyphics to emojis, as if we've regressed to this state. But as you all know from Doodling with Purpose, hieroglyphics are not emojis. They are not just showing an emotion. They're letters. Every single glyph has a sound. Except for the determinatives, of course, the ones that are used to help you figure out what you're reading. But this is far from emojis. So the next time you see someone online comparing them emojis, you can say, no, they're not. I'm a Doodling with Purpose student, and I know that. Now, memes, on the other hand, that might be a whole nother thing, because that's what hieroglyphics are. They're pictures. They're drawings of events. But when you're actually reading it, yeah, not so much emojis. All right, enough of that odd rant. Let's get into today's lesson. So today we are going to tackle the crocodile, obviously a creature abounding in ancient Egypt with the Nile and the whole river thing. And then we're going to get into a couple tools. We're going to get into an ancient bricklaying tool and an ancient harpoon. So obviously, again, with the Nile and the fishing and the crocodiles and the hippos and, harpooning. It was a thing. Not just for whales. All right, but first off, time for review. We're going to look at the 3 glyphs we learned last week and review drawing them. Because again, the correct way to draw them is very important. You don't want to learn kind of bad habits, like they say with piano or violin or, musical instruments like that. The correct way is just as important as knowing the information. All right, so first we have the needle stack, rectangle lined through, and then half a question mark. And that's your bundle of needles. Next, we have the baby antelope. This is a tricky one. Going around for the head, up for the top, back and down with the tail, then a half loop and straight for the back leg, skybird for the underbelly, eye, and horns. This one is a tricky one. It took me a long time to get that one. And then ka is just your arms there. That's pretty easy to draw. Makes up for the antelope, right? Okay, now we're going to jump into our new glyphs for the week. So first up, we're going to be dealing with the crocodile. And we're going to be doing a crocodile tail. And no, not that tail, more like this tail. If you'll notice the ridges there, especially with the shadow, I picked this image because the shadow really shows off kind of what we're going to be drawing with the ridges that are coming off the back of the tail. It's more of a focus on that versus like the actual end of the tail. All right, and this is going to make the KM sound. It's actually a very important one because the word for Egypt in their language is Kemet. So this glyph is used when spelling out the name of their country. All right, pretty easy. Spike, third spike, back around and up. Each spike longer than the last. All right, so starting with the top, 1 spike, 2 spikes, 3 spikes, and back around and connect. Each spike longer than the last. One more time. Starting at the top, spike number 1, spike number 2, and spike number 3. And back around and connect. And that's your crocodile tail. All right, now we're going to jump into 2 tools. Again, hieroglyphs were always kind of things the Egyptians had in life, and this is the bricklaying tool. A little different than a modern bricklaying tool. We're obviously dealing with an ancient Egyptian bricklaying tool. And, I think it's pretty clear that Egyptians were huge builders with the brick. Not so much, the modern bricks where they're, sized so that one person could just pick one up. We're kind of talking about bricks on a little bit of a grander scale. More like, giant bricks that had to be, pulled up giant slants by teams on rolling logs or hey, maybe beamed down by aliens, who knows. But either way, bricks and ancient Egyptian building were a huge thing. So obviously the bricklaying tool is going to show up. And this is the KD sound, could. I think of it as like a tool a kid might have. I mean, obviously kids were not building with bricks, but again, my crazy brain. All right, so we're going to go down, we're going to make a little beak and back up. Rectangle with a beak. Rectangle, beak, slash down, straight down, and then back up. Rectangle with a beak. All right, down, out, diagonal down, straight down, and back up. and that's your bricklaying tool. All right, and last up for today, we are going to do the harpoon. And, not like Captain Ahab here, harpooning whales. Harpoons were used for hippos and crocodiles and all sorts of things, even, fish. And, we're not hunting Moby Dick here. Although, when we're dealing with Captain Ahab, I much prefer this version of Captain Ahab. I'm a big fan of Bone. I don't talk about that much on any of my videos. But if you haven't read Bone, it's a great comic book by Jeff Smith. And there's a great Captain Ahab thing going on with the harpoon. And I'm completely on a tangent. I'm just supposed to be showing you harpoon images here. Okay, so ancient Egyptian harpoons actually looked a lot like modern ones. They were, obviously used to not hunt whales, but as I said, mostly hippos and crocodiles, and occasionally your giant carps and perches. So we see a lot of these showing up in Egyptian art. This is a statue actually from the famous King Tutankhamun, or King Tut, of him holding a harpoon on a Nile raft. And this is what an ancient harpoon actually looked like in a museum. So, we actually have found these, and they definitely correspond with the glyph that we're going to draw, with the pointy end going up like that, and then the two barbs sticking up out of the sides there. And this is pretty much straight on to what the Egyptian hieroglyphic harpoon glyph looks like. All right, and the KS sound, KS, it's actually more of a QK, like kus, than a hard K. It's a kus sound. All right, so straight down and then an angle, two lines, and a curly flourish. And that's your harpoon. Straight down, angle up, two lines at the top, and a flourish curl. One more time. Straight down, curve up, two lines at the top, and then your flourish curl. And that's your harpoon. All right, so that's it for this week. Next week, we are entering the M world. There are more M glyphs than any other sort of consonant. I think we had that actually, well, we obviously only had the owl M in the singles, but now with the doubles, we're going to get into a whole bunch of M's. You could call it, a house of M, or a world of M. Either way, lots of M's coming at you. We'll start that off next week, and we'll have a good time. All right, thanks for watching.